Hello, property nomads. Hope you're doing well. Yes, another video about energy, but this time about probably one of the biggest bugbears I think most people have with energy in the UK, and that is the standing charge. So we've got an article we're going to look at because of our claims that under a new Labour government, that actually our standing charge that we pay is going to increase. So let's go across to the article. So it's from the Tor Graph, so we've got to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt. It might just be an attack on Labour anyway. But they've gone with the headline, the hidden tax on your energy bills that will soar under Labour's net zero plan. Number one, personal opinion, net zero is a big bunch of codswallop anyway. But hey ho, for video purposes, I'll try and be I'll be on my best behaviour for you. The standing charges are billed to households every day, as you're probably aware already. And this is regardless of whether you use anything or not. A lot of people probably won't know that it's the so-called flat tax. It was introduced in the 1930s to prop up energy regulation. And of course, it's come under a lot of scrutiny over the last 4 or 5 years after, I believe, doubling or maybe more than doubling from 2019, 2020. Now, whilst the Conservatives have said they will review standing charges, Labour said that, and I quote, "Too much of the burden of the bill is on standing charges, and we will work with the regulator to reduce them," end quote. Now, of course, what you say and what you do are two completely different things. The scary thing, and I think this is what will get a lot of people, is that the standing charges, there are slight variances in region. The average standing charge is £334.08 a year. £334.08 a year. That's just for gas and electricity. So that's not paying for any units of the stuff. That is just for the benefit and the privilege of just having them. Now, I am moving to Mexico at the end of the year. My wife and I have been lucky to calculate what we think the rough bills will be, roughly, for gas, electricity, and water. I can tell you now, for the year, it is very, very unlikely, not impossible, but very unlikely, our total bills for the year for those three utilities are going to be as much as that standing charge of £334.08. Now, I'll keep you posted on that. Keep an eye on the channel at the end of 2025, start of 2026. But yeah, we think our utility bills for all three things are going to be less than just the standing charge that we have to pay currently in the UK. And you can see why people get annoyed by this, because it's unnecessarily saddling people with debt and another burden, to be perfectly honest. Of course, it's a Tor Graph, so they said, but when energy costs soared in the wake of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, households struggled to reduce their bills. This left vulnerable households particularly exposed. So again, Tor Graph, please understand that number one, NATO started it. Number two, it was the government's reaction to things. It's the banning of fossil fuels. It's the banning of Russian goods. It's all of that. It's not because Putin invaded Ukraine that our energy bills are high. It's a government reaction and government policy and net zero. All of that are contributing factors. Yes, of course, Russia's invasion of Ukraine is a contributing factor. I'm not going to disagree with that, but it's not the main reason. There are a lot of other reasons why our bills are quite high, and it's things that the media won't report on. This is why we do this channel, to give you the truth. To be perfectly honest, this is why we do this channel, to sort the wheat from the chaff, and so on, whatever analogy you want to put in there. Labour has vowed to reduce the bill, of course, and that's fine. But if they end up doing that, great. But what someone says and what someone does are two different things. But this is where the article comes in, because in order to reduce standing charge, what it will probably be offset with higher unit costs. So although they might get rid of the standing charge and we can all go dancing in the streets and celebrating, actually what it's going to likely mean is that the unit price will increase. So therefore, have you actually saved anything on your bill? Very, very unlikely. And this is all because of net zero. This is all because of the fact that that's how we want to, this is how we want to the route we want to go down, because that's what we've been told to do, probably by the World Economic Forum, about you will own nothing and be happy anyway by 2030. And it's going to make the people of the UK poorer. In fact, it's probably already made us poorer, some of us without realizing it, some of us have realized this. And it's not going to get any better, to be fair. So the purpose of this is to say that if Labour or the new government, let's just say it's Labour because it's going to be, if they're going to come in and say we're going to look at getting rid of the standing charge or certainly lowering it, then again, on paper sounds good. Chances are that your unit prices are going to go up, and because of everything else to do with energy dependence, energy security, all of these sort of things, it's going to have an impact. So the headline is good, and that might get people to vote for it. But again, what someone puts in a manifesto and then what actually happens afterwards are two completely different things. Let's see what happens. At the end of the day, as we can see scrolling down, households are going to pay for it either way. And I do like the fact that whoever's written this article, fair play, does say that the fact remains, and I quote, the fact remains that at some point, Britain will need to ramp up its investment in infrastructure to meet Labour's goals, and that means households will have to pay for it. Yes, the burden is normally with the taxpayer at the end of the day, and it depends on who's in charge and how efficient they want to be with utilising those funds. Most of the time, not very well, to be honest. So look, let's just see what happens. So put a link in the show notes or the description below, put a link in there for you to go and read. But basically what they're saying is that one way or another, your utility bills are going to increase because of Labour's net zero plan. And that's going to be a mixture of energy insecurity, energy non-independence. And also, if they're going to look at getting rid of the standing charge, sounds good on paper, but then what will happen is chances are it means the unit price of gas and electric is going to increase substantially. That therefore means you're probably not going to save anything on your bill. In fact, you might end up paying more. So just be careful of that moving forwards. Two small favors to ask you. Number one, please do subscribe to the channel. That'd be absolutely superb. We're seeing the numbers increase, which is wonderful. We feel that by providing the truth, giving an insight to what you won't hear in mainstream media, is really attracting an audience. So thank you for that. Secondly, please do share Property Nomads YouTube channel with other people. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.